A severe drought has settled over the land of Canaan, and the threat of starvation is closing in on Jacob's family. They are out of food, out of options, and facing the very real possibility that they will not survive the year. This family has been starving emotionally for over a decade. 20 years earlier, the brothers sold their sibling, Joseph, into slavery and covered it up. They have all lived under the weight of that buried secret ever since. Hearing there is grain in Egypt, Jacob dispatches 10 of his sons to buy rations. However, he deliberately keeps his youngest son, Benjamin, safely at home in Canaan. Jacob's decision to withhold Benjamin speaks volumes. He has never recovered from the trauma of losing Joseph. By keeping Rachel's only remaining child behind, Jacob is making it painfully clear that he does not trust his older sons to protect him. Look closely at this split-screen logic map. On one side, we see the 10 brothers arriving in the Egyptian court and throwing themselves face down before the governor. On the other side, we see the 11 bowing sheaves of wheat from Joseph's teenage dream. The prophecy is mathematically aligning right before his eyes, highlighting the glaring absence of the 11th brother. The starving men begging for their lives have absolutely no idea they are prostrating themselves before the brother they sold. This massive asymmetry of power sets the stage not for a quick rescue, but for a brutal psychological reckoning. Joseph recognizes his brothers the moment they walk in. Instead of dropping his disguise for a tearful reunion, he leans into his absolute authority and plays the role of a harsh, unpredictable foreign dictator. He immediately goes on the offensive, accusing the desperate travelers of being spies sent to map out the vulnerable, undefended areas of the Egyptian border. Joseph is engineering a high-stress interrogation to find out who these men are today. By threatening their lives, he is testing whether they will betray each other to save their own skins, exactly as they did to him. To make the threat real, Joseph locks all 10 brothers in an Egyptian prison for 3 days. For the first time in their lives, they are subjected to the exact terror and total helplessness they once inflicted on him. When he pulls them out of the dark, Joseph issues a terrifying ultimatum. They can take grain back to their starving families, but one brother, Simeon, will be kept bound in Egypt as a hostage. To get him back, they must return with their youngest brother, Benjamin. Joseph is wielding the entire weight of the Egyptian state against them. He systematically strips away their physical security to test whether their loyalty to one another holds up under extreme pressure. Because Joseph has been speaking to them through an official Egyptian interpreter, the brothers operate under the false assumption that the governor cannot understand their native Hebrew language. The psychological pressure finally breaks them. Standing right in front of Joseph, they openly admit to each other that their current suffering is direct, divine payback for ignoring Joseph's cries for help from the pit all those years ago. Hearing this raw confession shatters Joseph's icy facade. Overwhelmed, he is forced to step out of the room and turn away to weep in secret. These tears prove something crucial. Joseph now knows that the ruthless teenagers who discarded him have evolved into men carrying a shared, painful conscience. Even so, Joseph refuses to let them off the hook. He returns to the room, binds Simeon right before their eyes, and then secretly orders his servants to hide the brothers' silver payments back inside their sacks of grain. The Egyptian pressure cooker worked flawlessly. By trapping them in an impossible dilemma, Joseph forced a decade of collective denial and buried guilt straight to the surface. The dread only compounds on the journey home. When one of the brothers opens his sack to feed his donkey, he finds his silver payment sitting right there. Terrified, they assume they are being set up by God for an even worse punishment. They finally reach Canaan, empty out the rest of the sacks, and realize all of their money has been returned. Panic sets in as they break the news to Jacob. Simeon is a prisoner in a foreign land, and the governor demands they bring Benjamin back. This chart of the family hierarchy tree shows exactly why Jacob immediately refuses. We can see Jacob, Joseph, and Benjamin isolated in a highly protected core, separated from the other 10 sons. Jacob tells them Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and he absolutely will not risk losing Benjamin. Reuben steps up with a desperate negotiation tactic. He offers the lives of his own 2 sons as collateral if he fails to bring Benjamin back. It is a horrifying offer that completely fails. Jacob completely dismisses his eldest son, proving that he values the life of Rachel's youngest child over the lives of his other grandchildren. The trust between father and sons is gone. Securing the physical food they needed to survive only exposed the emotional rot inside their home. Until Jacob is willing to face his worst fear and let Benjamin go, there is absolutely no path forward for this family.